Hello. Hello. So I actually have something that about bipolar disorder that I didn't know. So that's in one way very exciting to me. In another way, the news is not good. um, so I don't know where you are at, how old you are, and how long you have had bipolar disorder or someone you know. Um, I am 53, soon to be 54. I was diagnosed in my mid 20s, so that's 30 years. And a good chunk of it was poorly controlled because I was not being. The medication I needed didn't exist until later. Um, so I don't know how it must have been some algorithm or something, but this article popped up and I'm going to read the paragraph and then talk about it cuz this is new to me. And it's about I've seen it called late stage bipolar disorder and end stage bipolar disorder. I myself seem to prefer the late stage bipolar disorder than end stage. Uh, so here, let's see, let me find out when it was. This one particular is from National Library of Medicine, NIH, National Institute of Health, from their Library of Medicine. And this article looks like it was written in 2016, but I have seen articles from 2023. Um, my throat's a little iffy, so let me see. I'm going to skip cases. I'm going to read you the introduction here. And I'll put a link also in the description to this page. Although bipolar disorder has been classically considered a cyclic disease with full recovery between mood episodes, in the last decade, evidence has accumulated supporting the notion that bipolar disorder is a progressive condition with functional decline over time. In older patients with bipolar disorder, several studies have confirmed a significant cognitive dysfunction that was not associated with mood or prodromal phase of dementia. Similarly, MRI findings in older bipolar patients have shown regional gray matter volume reduction and white matter hyperintensities that were not consistent with a dementia profile, but hypothesized to be correlated with the disease duration or a result from the toxic effects of recurrent mood episodes. The cognitive dysfunction and mild structural brain alterations seen in patients with bipolar disorder suggest a model of accelerated aging. The clinical stages of bipolar disorder can range from a latent or a symptomatic form, stage 0, to a chronic end stage presentation, stage 4. Accelerated aging defines the later stages of bipolar disorder. The clinical picture of end-stage bipolar disorder is heterogeneous, with possible cognitive and behavioral deficits. Here we report a series of 4 male cases diagnosed with bipolar disorder who subsequently developed gradually progressive behavioral and social emotional changes rather similar to behavioral variant frontotemporal dementia. A neurodegenerative nature of this condition, however, could not be demonstrated after 3 to 7 years of extensive clinical follow-up. We propose that a non-progressive frontal lobe syndrome constitutes a possible manifestation of end-stage bipolar disorder. And then they go on to describe some cases in specifically, let's see if I can, discussion, conclusion, okay, a little more reading. Conclusion. To the best of our knowledge, there have been no previous case series of older patients with bipolar disorder illustrating progressive behavioral change culminating in frontal lobe syndrome. In all 4 cases, behaviors could not be attributed to bipolar mood symptoms and were reported as a distinct loss of insight and empathy with disinhibition and socially inappropriate behavior. In spite of the limitations imposed by our small sample size, confined psychiatric follow-up, and lack of post-mortem evaluation to rule out other pathological explanations, the clinical implications of our case series are potentially valuable. The recognition of this phenotype is important for the understanding of brain behavior relationships, in particular the pathophysiology of bipolar disorder. Our case series is a reminder that clinicians should reject a diagnosis of BVFTD, that's frontal lobe something or other, in patients with bipolar disorder in the absence of obvious clinical and radiological progression over time. Okay, so it's a little bit difficult for me to follow, but that's what pretty much what I have read. It sounds just like other articles I read, and basically it does sound like there's not been enough study to really make this a definite thing, but it's enough that people are taking note that there are a lot of things that cause cognitive dysfunction as you age. You can have Alzheimer's, you can have Parkinson's will sometimes do that. You can have a actual injury, like you're in a car accident or played football. Mini strokes, that's vascular dementia. And it was enough that they noticed that it wasn't related to the mood shifts that we see in other symptoms that you see when you're going through a mood cycle. And it sounds like they need to do more comprehensive studying to make it an actual thing, because I've never heard anyone say anything to me about aging in the frontal lobe and cognitive dysfunction, and so it kind of is like, if you're an older person, I consider myself an older person. When you think of bipolar, being treated, diagnosed with bipolar disorder, so it has me a little worried. Okay, sorry, I was interrupted there. And it's just like, now it's just like one more thing for me to be freaked out about, because my recent autism diagnosis and ADHD, and I'm like, okay, I would like to know, I'm the kind of person that needs things to be in categories. Even things I do, like events that are stressful, I say boxes. And I say, okay, this next blocks, not boxes, blocks. And this block is driving to the airport. Don't think of anything else. We're driving to the airport. And I recently had a complete meltdown because I was trying to do something on I was trying to organize my files and pictures and stuff on my laptop and my phone and my tablet, because they were just all over the place and I was using up too much storage. And the task, I've noticed more and more that I have more trouble with tasks like that. I'm having more and more difficulty, like filling out forms, and so now I'm like, well, what the heck is it? I need to know. I have to put it in a box. These symptoms are this disorder, so I take these meds and these measures, but this symptom is for this. I don't like muddying up, not just having a lot. I understand when doctors say they treat the symptoms and labels are just for the insurance companies, but I'm sorry, I'm like the insurance companies. I need things to be organized. I love the Dewey Decimal System, and it's like just having symptoms floating around and not knowing what they're attributed to is kind of unnerving. And also I'm already paranoid about, I worked in the medical and hospitals, and when I was in nursing school, I worked on an ambulatory dementia unit. So these people were still walking around just fine, eating and everything, but they had dementia so bad they couldn't function. So I'm already paranoid about that. My grandmother, at first they thought she had Alzheimer's, but then it was more like vascular dementia. Um, and I guess maybe doesn't matter what it is, let's deal with the symptoms. I'm not that person. I can't do that. And so if I'm walking around with a declined cognitive functions, I want to be able to tell someone what it is. I am sorry, I have trouble doing, could you help me? I have trouble doing this and this. I have blah, blah, blah. Um, because I don't like, I find telling, I'm, I hope my dogs aren't bothering you. Um, I don't like telling people I have bipolar disorder because people have there's a stigma, and people have an idea of what someone like that is. And so I don't like telling people I have bipolar disorder, but I do because I think it's important for me to contribute to making it less stigmatized, and that they can meet someone who actually does what they're supposed to do to take care of things. And so they don't get a stereotype stuck in their head. But I find it very helpful to tell people, which I'm diagnosed with, autism, because people have at least an inkling in that, okay, she has autism, that means she's gonna maybe need a little extra help. I don't have to say I'm gonna need help. All I have to do is say I have autism, and a light goes on in their head, and their entire, how they, if they're nice people, they take on a whole soft kind of okay, well, until you run into the person that says, well, everybody's a little autistic. I have someone who said that, among other things, but sometimes when I can sense when someone is sensing that I'm awkward. And when I catch that, I work in saying something along the lines of that's a little difficult for me because I have autism. And it's like, oh, okay, that explains it. Then they're okay with me. Instead of me being this aloof, rude, unsociable, unpleasant person because I'm staring at the ground and walking by really fast past you because I'm hoping you won't want to talk to me because I don't know how to do that. Yeah, so I'm going to be, this is just like my first delve into this whole idea. I've already been afraid of what is life going to be like me as an old bipolar person who's going to be taking care of me, keeping an eye out on me, just checking in. And now I have this to worry about. Am I going to end up... all I can think of is that nursing home I worked at, and I'm like, I'm a little scared. I'm more than a little frightened. I'm very frightened. Um, when I'm 63, what's it gonna be like? My mom's in her 70s, and she's as sharp as she always was. So, um, but if I already am having, I've had this problem for a long time, these problems forever. So I can't just rush out and automatically think that I'm progressing into end stage bipolar disorder uh, when my behaviors have been the same since I was a child. So, but it still has me really paranoid and worried. I'm like, I'm already worried. Worried, as far as bipolar goes. I'm terrified of extreme mood shifts. I don't want to be psychotic. I don't want to be starts with an S thing. Um, I don't want my life in danger. I don't want to end up in jail. I don't want to be committed. And now I have to worry about this. My brain not functioning. I have enough trouble as it is. So let's just hope. It sounded like all their examples were men, so maybe it's different for women. I have to do some more research. But I had never heard of it. I knew that the type of mood changed as you got older, but I didn't know about this cognitive functioning issue. So, anyway, that's all I have to say about that, and I'll put a link to the article. Yeah, so, yay. Bye.